Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sunday School with Miss Mary. Today is lesson 5, and it's going to be the first lesson in a series of lessons. And they're all going to have something to do with a rivalry. Before we start, I want to say hello to everyone that I hope is watching, like Jaden and Jaron, and Justin, and Lily, and Ellie, and Emmeline, and Cam, and Lucy, and Rosie, and Penny. And let's not forget, we need to say happy birthday to Gabe. His birthday is Friday, November the 6th. And Brittany, and Ashley, and Olivia, and Kaylee. And if I've missed anyone at all, please tell us so I can add your name to our list. If you can see behind me, there is a Baltimore football jersey, and there's a Washington pendant and a Baltimore Orioles baseball cap. All sports teams. And sports teams all have rivals. And you may even have a rival in your school. Maybe you compete to see which classroom can read the most books. Or maybe you play on a soccer team and there's another soccer team that you always want to win and they always want to win against you. So you are rivals because you compete against each other. And a rivalry between two teams or two classrooms can be fun. But a rivalry between brothers and sisters usually isn't. One of the things that is good to remember about reading stories in the Bible is that a lot of these stories are still about things that we experience now on a daily basis. Families still have things that they don't agree on. Arguments and fights caused by a rivalry between two persons are found in some Old Testament stories. Sometimes it took years for the ones who argued to get back together. Not all the stories have a happy ending either. When you read about Jacob and Esau, you'll hear a really wild story about what a brother did so that he could inherit the wealth of his family. And then the story about Joseph and his older brothers is a really long story, and it's full of all kinds of twists and turns. You'll hear about dreams, hard times and good times, kings and servants. And then there's a sad story about two women who didn't get along. Their names were Sarah and Hagar. But no matter what caused the rivalry, God was with each person. So as you read these stories or you listen to them from your teachers, remember how you feel when you have an argument with someone. Remember what it takes to make up again. And wonder about the people in this story and how they feel, what they experienced, and how God was present with them. It's not always easy to make up with someone, is it? Well, this is the story about twins, and their names were Jacob and Esau. And if you look in your Bible, you'll see a picture of them when they were babies with their mom. And then there's another picture. What do you think's happening there? Doesn't look like it's a good thing that's happening, does it? Doesn't look like they're having a fun time together. Do you know any twins? Do they look a lot alike, or are they very different from each other? These twins don't look alike. They look very different. And the story starts when Jacob and Esau were 0 years old. How can that be, huh? That's because they weren't even born yet. Sometimes before babies are born, they move around inside their mothers, and their mothers can feel them moving around. And that's what their mother, Rebecca, did. Rebecca said, "Wow, things are busy in there. I think I've got 2 babies, not just one. It feels like they're wrestling with each other inside of me right now. I wonder if it'll always be like that, where they'll wrestle with each other." Rebecca was right about everything. She was right about having 2 babies, twins, and she was right about their wrestling. Esau was born first. He had a lot of red hair, so they called him Esau because that word means red. And Jacob, he was born second. He stuck out his arm right after Esau was born, like he was still wrestling with him. So they called him Jacob, because Jacob was their word for wrestling. Jacob and Esau were a lot alike. They were born at the same time. They played together. They grew up in the same family, but they were also very different. Esau loved getting outside. He liked the outdoors. He liked hiking and hunting and fishing, and he would bring home fish that he caught and animals that he hunted to his father, Isaac. Well, Isaac liked Esau a lot, but Jacob, he was very different. He liked to stay home and stay inside. If they had books and smartphones back then, which they didn't, you know that, he would have been reading all day long. He made things at home too, and he helped his mother cook. So Rebekah liked Jacob a lot. Just as Rebekah had thought, Jacob and Esau wrestled with each other their whole lives. Just like all brothers and sisters who fight, Jacob and Esau did too. Once, when they got older, something really big happened that made them really, really mad at each other. And that's what happens in the next story. The next Sunday school lesson, you'll find out what happened next. So think about some of these things when you think about them in this first part of the story. What do you think they said to each other when they were growing up? Since they were so competitive and didn't get along, and one liked to be outside and one liked to be inside, and one liked to hunt and one liked to cook. Do you think that maybe they sort of teased each other or said things that weren't very nice to each other? Possibly, isn't it? And how do you think these twins maybe looked alike, and how did they look different? Maybe because their hair was different colors, that's how they looked different, but maybe their faces looked alike. Or maybe they were both the same height, or they had the same expressions on their faces or something. And their actions, what do you think there? Do you think sometimes they might not have been fighting or wrestling? Do you think sometimes maybe they got along with each other? Maybe when Jacob would bring home something that he had made and they had a chance to enjoy it, or when Esau would bring home some fish or meat and Jacob would cook it or make something good to eat, they would get along together and be happy? Maybe. We're going to learn more about them and other rivalries in the weeks coming up with the other news stories. But think about the fact when you have a rivalry or an argument or a disagreement with your sister or brother or friend or even your mom and dad. God still loves all of you the same. He doesn't make a choice. He loves you no matter how you get along with each other. But he would really be happier if we could get along with each other better than we do oftentimes. Remember, I miss seeing all of you in person, and I love you, and I hope that you're finding ways to enjoy every single day. Have fun, and I'll see you next time. Bye.